Hey guys, Ill Factor here, music producer and celebrity music production coach. In this video, I want to walk you through my process of programming drums in Ableton Live 9. I want to share with some techniques with you that I usually use to help bring some life and inspiration into your drum programming when working in Ableton Live 9. Now at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can download an Ableton Live set absolutely free with some instruments, loops, effect racks, and some vocal chain processing that can really help in your workflow when using Ableton Live 9. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So let's go ahead and start with some custom drum racks with some drum samples already loaded in them. It gives me the ability to just kind of come up to my MIDI controller and just kind of get inspired by the sounds that I already have preloaded on them and come up with a groove. So then what I'll do is head over to the tap tempo button on the left hand corner and just tap in the general tempo of that vibe that I was just creating. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just put the metronome on, round it down. I'll just use the enter key on my computer keyboard to start recording, and while I'm recording I'll hit it again to stop and automatically play back at the next downbeat. Now this helps stop a lot of the stopping and starting, stopping and starting. So I usually do that and then move on to adding another layer and just getting inspired with where I'm going. So we're going to be completely working in the session view to kind of get that idea across. So let's go ahead and let's look for some loops. I'll add that on there. It's cool. We'll add this one, see what they sound like. Now what I like about this loop, it's got that shaker playing on the accent, right? But I want to adjust it, and I'd like to show you how I go about creating the right type of texture and overall feel when incorporating loops into your programmed drums. So what we're going to do is head over here to the warp mode, and we're going to hit the ×2 button because this is going to allow this audio to play twice as slow. And you could always make it play twice as fast by hitting the divided by here. So let's just go ahead and make it play twice as slow. Now, because we're stuck in beats mode right now, the integrity of the audio has been compromised and it sounds, a little gargly and things like that. So we're going to go from beats to repitch or complex, whichever one, but I like repitch because it'll literally just pitch the actual sample down, giving it a lot more texture to it. It's almost as if you had a turntable and you were beat matching that loop to the beat that you've created. So let's see what this sounds like. So it's got that shaker and doing the upbeat, and I like that quarter note accent. So I do like to keep that in there. So I'll go ahead and incorporate maybe some more loops, maybe something that gets a little bit more bounce to it, maybe something on the 16th note accent or feel. And we'll go ahead and browse for more. That's cool. We'll add this on here. See what that sounds like. Now, although I might like the timing and the 16th note repetitive, I do like the texture of the percussion in this loop. But what I'm going to do now is maybe use a technique in using the gate to have it triggered this loop only when a specific sound is triggering the gate. So let me show you what I mean. We'll go to the audio effects folder and we are going to choose the gate plugin and just drag and drop that over the loop. And now what we see here is that the audio will only be heard once it passes this top orange line here. It's the threshold. Now it's really choppy. So let me just solo this loop for a second. And I'll show you a couple things and techniques that I usually use with the gate. We have the noise floor knob here. And what you could do with this is kind of increase this so that you still hear the audio below the threshold, but yet the peak that passes the threshold becomes more accented. So let me give you an example. when it's at all the way 0, you really don't hear nothing except the audio that passes that threshold. So you can give some more life by just cranking up the noise floor. And having that accented. But what I want to do now is, using the side chain on the gate, have this loop only get heard or triggered when I trigger it with another instrument, such as maybe the drums. So I'm going to choose the audio from, and we'll choose track 2, Ill Factor drum rack. And now we arm that track, we get to hear the audio once I hit play every time I trigger the drum rack. So it can play the rhythm that I'm actually triggering it in. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and open up the hold and release. And this just allows that audio to, the release depends on how long the audio gets heard after I've actually released my finger from my MIDI controller. And the hold depends on how long the audio gets heard when it passes that threshold. So let's go ahead and open those up a little more. Okay, now let's go ahead and play this in the context. And I'm going to go ahead and record the clip on the track that I'm actually triggering, not the actual audio track. Okay, so now here's the actual MIDI that I've recorded, and this is just triggering the gate. Okay, now I'll go ahead and use, I'll open up another track, use that first loop that we dragged in here, and experiment, see what that sounds like now. And maybe we can do the same thing we did with the first loop, and maybe pitch it up, down, reverse it, just to give some more texture to it. So I can just choose maybe this one bar here of this loop, and with that section highlighted, we can just hit Command U to quantize, because I noticed it had a certain swing to it. And what this does, it automatically clicks, it creates a transient marker for each transient and snaps it to the nearest grid marking. And this is all depending on my quantize settings. So I'm quantizing it to the nearest 16th, and I've got the amount at 45%. I do that so it's not very stiff, and I don't like having robotic drums, so I always leave my quantizing to about 39 to 45%, never really go past that. And now what I'm going to do is leave this in beats mode, but we're going to go ahead down to this lower section where it says preserve transients. And I'm going to take this, see right now it's set to this marker where it plays the transients, and if it needs to, it'll play it backwards to make it to the next transient, so that you can actually, it gives the illusion of you actually hearing that when you're warping something in beats mode. So we're going to take that off, and we're just going to go ahead and make sure that it just plays the transient once, and then that's it. And then we can go ahead and lower the preserve amount so that it just really makes this nice staccato and short, detailed percussion loop. It's kind of like lowering the decay down. So now we can go ahead and put that down. Maybe just pitch this down to give some more texture. Cool. So now let's go ahead and incorporate some more musical elements to this. I've got this simpler loaded here with some audio, and I've just created some slices here to trigger. So let's go ahead and record an idea. And so I'll go ahead and make sure that I just get, maybe just that first half we'll use. I'll go back to that Latin loop, and I know the release is just a little too long, so I can tighten it up so that it'll snap right back once it stops getting triggered. And so we don't have any notes just lingering off there. It could be good. It all depends on the loop that you're using this technique on. So let's go ahead and use our browser finder. I'm going to type in Rapture Pro and just put a quick bass line down on this, and we'll wrap up the video. So here we go. All right, let's put this idea. All right, let's go ahead and put a bass line down. Okay, and the reason why I like working in session view this way is because I'm able to just kind of riff and come up with different melody lines and things like that with my bass lines or anything really. And it's more of just a blank canvas of me just throwing ideas down rather than me having to force an idea from like in the arrangement window. This is just what works with this, what doesn't work with that, and just keep everything there in my different clip slots. So it just makes it really easy for my creative process to happen. So I hope this was helpful, and try using that gate technique on some of your drums and having it triggered by another instrument to just give some more creative outlook when it comes to your traditional drum programming in your sessions. Now, go ahead and use the link below to download this Ableton Live set that I've created with some free loops, instruments, and effects chains that you can use in your everyday Ableton Live sessions. Just be sure to click the link below in the description box, download it. It's absolutely yours. It's just my gift to you for watching this video. Take care, and I'll see you soon.